public hearing, and the public hearing was about the budget, and that was August 6th. And we had the regular meeting, and that was July 8th. Any corrections or additions or anything to those minutes?
I make a motion to approve both sets of minutes.
Okay, and we got a second. Any discussion? All right, good.
Aye.
Motion carries. Both sets of minutes are approved. Correspondence, Brenda.
We received a thank you letter from the Mineral County Planning for Performing Arts Association for the donation for the Shakespeare in the Parks.
And when is that? Do you remember?
20th.
20th?
Is that? That's good, because I don't know. It has a list of the other stuff coming up. Not that one.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is the part of the meeting for the public comment. Is there anyone from the public who would like to make a comment at this time? Okay, let's move on to reports. Animal? I found it.
Yes.
Animal, one ticket written, several calls responded to.
Here we have this one lady that has, she got the ticket and then she came and licensed 2 dogs. And then the guy that was complaining said, well, I think she has 3, but she didn't license 3. And then we saw her walking down the street with 6. So we're going, well, how many does she have? She must have been walking somebody else's dog and stuff like that. We don't know how many dogs.
She can have anywhere from 2 to 10, but she licensed 2 on that ticket.
She was in today and got a copy of the ordinances, and then she came back asking about the dog at large and asking, because she did license the 2. She said the 3rd one, they still have the 3rd one. It's supposed to leave at the end of August when her daughter goes back to school. She wanted to know if the dog is, what the deal with the dog is, if it's visiting. And I said, well, it doesn't have to be licensed, but I said, you still have to be a responsible pet owner and not let it run, walk, or whatever. And she says, well, down on the golf course, it's still in the city limits. And I said, but it's all private land. And she said, well, if I had permission from the landowner, can I let my dogs run down there? So by that point, I'm just going, probably not. You're probably going to have problems with the
Well,
rest
the
of
neighbors
the
would be
homeowners and the neighbors.
But if,
Because they have a homeowners association, they can
Yeah.
run by code of what they need to do, covenants. And so she was asking about that. The other 3 dogs that you saw her with were Kirk Cortilla's dogs, actually. They were babysitting him while he was on vacation.
we were just talking about that, we come around the corner heading to the well, and here she is. Oh, you've got to be kidding me, 6 flipping dogs.
Yeah. Well, and one guy that is complaining, you know, he said she sees her, she'll have, as soon as she sees him or one of some, she'll get the dogs on a leash right away. Otherwise, she's just letting them run. She's letting them chase the deer and the fawns, and which is upsetting to the surrounding neighbors. Plus, it's illegal. I mean, if they wanted to, they could shoot the dogs, technically. Yeah, I'm not saying that out loud, but technically they can shoot them. And she's letting them chase the geese and the wild waterfowl and stuff. So we did tell Fish, Wildlife and Parks, we left them a message about that so that they could deal with that. But yeah, I'm not sure if she understands the rules yet or not.
Maybe not. We had one dog that we kept for longer than we normally. We kept for 10 days trying to get a home for it, and the animal control in Missoula was so busy that they couldn't take it. So we ended up having to take it to a vet and have it put down. So that cost us $46 on the vet bill and 2.5 hours in and back on some stray. Somebody claimed it was some of those hippies, rainbow people come by that just dropped it off, but who knows.
Well, I also told this lady that if she keeps it longer than August 31st, she needs to license it.
You get
And
permission.
to have it. So I'm not letting up on her because she's not listening too well. But she goes to court tomorrow.
Okay. Hopefully, that won't help the problem. Let's move on to parks.
All mowing and trimming is being done, sprinkler system worked on.
I don't know if you ever noticed, but when we shut that, everything's nice and green, when we shut that water off for 3 to 4 days for that pool tournament, that sucker with 99 degree weather, it dries up so fast. We're just now catching up and it's starting to come back almost a month. Cause there's spots in both parks, it's just the soil's not that good, so if you're not constantly pouring water on it, it'll dry right out. And so it's just now starting to come down, and Rodney's probably dug 50 sprinkler heads, cause after you drive over them, when people run on them, they get down too low and then they get full of water and they won't work, so we pull them back up, and we've been trying to make them last, we're bending them, cause they wear out. What they do is wear out and they won't slap against the thing, and so they stick. If you bend them a little bit, then they hit a little end, and you get another year or two out of them. You keep tweaking them. Yeah, whatever we can do. At 122 apiece, we try anything we can to keep them going.
Good. Let's move on to crime in court.
Offenses, 18 cleared, 2 arrest citations for a total of 20. Incidents, 22 cleared, 2 unfounded for a total of 24. Traffic stops, 1 cleared, 5 warnings, 2 unfounded, 2 arrest citations for a total of 10. 1 criminal trespass to property, 1 obstructing a peace officer or public servant, 1 disorderly conduct, 1 stop sign violation, 1 dogs running at large, 1 use of fireworks.
Okay, let's move on. Pool.
Pool is running smoothly and it closes August 14th.
The 14th.
2 days. Wednesday.
Yeah, it seems that we're doing pretty good on our end. We did have to have some work done on the solar system. It was acting up towards the end of the last year. It was like it was full of air, and so when they came in, it needed to be filled up, and the little tiny pump was only working intermittently. It pumps this big, about that tall and that big, $600. But it does, like I said, it does raise the cold water to about 60, so we're heating from 60 up instead of 48 up.
And it does make some difference, because last year, I was at Alberton, the lady from Alberton was asking for full information about building one and how much it cost to run ours and stuff like that. And so I sent all that to her, and last year the propane, let's see, 11-12, the propane was about 7,200, and then this year it was about 5,700. So it does help a difference.
Yeah.
Is that
difference.
consumption or
That's,
price per gallon?
that's price per gallon. It's, I don't know how many gallons we use. But usually we get it, the summer rate early in November.
Yeah.
Well, and this year, when I emailed her the stuff, I'll tell you, the revenues this year were $6,896 as of June 30th, and so that's about 17% of the cost.
This is the longest we've run in several years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm not even including July and August, because that's the next fiscal year. I just cut it off at June 30th when I was giving her the numbers. And so, yeah, the revenues are going down every year.
We need to find ways to make our pool more fun.
Yes.
Okay.
Have
Let's move on
younger
to sewer.
people moving into the county, that's part of it too.
Sewer.
Let's see here, all checks, maintenance is being done, all testing has been completed, final lift station plugged up, responded to, air gauge at the lower building shorted out.
You know anybody's missing some dark blue underwear?
That's what it was.
That's what was in the one pump, so I got that dug out, it was just bound up in there, and with them little things, they were chopped up there. Wherever they came from, that's what stopped it. Fortunately, it didn't do anything but stop the pump.
That's right.
The air gauge is on the
Except it
blower,
wasn't on the body.
and it's a gauge to make sure you don't overpressure. And the blowers were off, and Rodney went in there and what the heck, and I tried to flip the control and it wouldn't come back on, and crap, here we go. And then I did it one morning, he said, wait a minute, I saw a spark. So then we turned the over there and flipped it again, and this gauge, this is from the vibration in there, kept wiggling, and the wires finally got loose and shorted out. So I have to order one of those. I don't know what they're gonna cost, but they're out of Denver, Colorado. It'll run without it, but you don't have that upper pressure gauge to stop it in case it overpressures. But it's not real crucial.
And most of the bad ones are for our facility. No.
Rodney got some sewer jetting in, not as much as we wanted, because Thompson Falls needed it in an emergency, so they came and got it.
testing has been completed. Chlorine pump failed. New one on order.
Those aren't cheap either. They're $968 for a little LMI pump, and we gotta have a spare. We've got 3 wells, and we always keep a spare. So that one, we put the spare in and then ordered this. They have little thing, there's a little 4-way valve that sits on top of it. That alone is $73. And you can rebuild the wet end, it's just a diaphragm. The diaphragm goes in, you can take that, you gotta adjust it, and they're like $45 a piece. So fortunately, they don't go out very often.
So we'll end up with a spare after we're done with it. We'll have to rebuild the one that you're
The-
replacing.
The spare, the one that died was the electronic side that died, so I don't think there's anything that we can do with it. The wet side's easy, it's just 4 bolts, you place the diaphragm in the back one, adjust it, and off it goes, and it's pretty easy, but it won't run whatsoever. It's somewhere in the electronics, and it's probably not worth even bothering.
Okay, let's move on to streets.
Some potholes filled, 1 tree removed and right away.
The tree in question was down by North Grunvold's house. It was a big dead
The big
pine
one?
with 2 things going off, and it was actually kind of leaning towards their house. It was on the list when we had that grant, but it was way over our, I don't know, it was $2,500 over what the grant was, so we didn't do it. But at that time, it wasn't dead. It was listed because of the split, which is a danger, so he wanted to get that out of it. Well, it was dead. And so I got Leroy and Ray to take it out for about $250 cheaper than what they had estimated. So it was a good deal, and they do such a good job. And the guy that lives there, I think it's the son-in-law of Norris, that says, glad you did that, because I didn't hate that in Sioux City.
That's all
That was one of the
we
ones
need,
I was worried about, sparks from the fire coming over and landing on it. That was one of the few I was like, don't go there.
Anywhere on your riverbank it would've went.
Well, yeah, I mean, right there, I was watching out my window like, please don't.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly, I was,
that riverbank
sprinklers
is
and-
just stuffed full of garbage and trees.
Oh,
yeah.
And we lost, I might as well say it now, you put all those cones up for the fire department, or Forest Service. Every one of them ended up over the riverbank.
Are you serious?
Yeah, all of them are gone, and I walked down there, and it's so brushy you can't see, and I recovered 4 out of that 12 I put up there. And this fall, when the brush is all gone, we might be able to see them and crawl
I
back
thought you
down.
took them down.
No,
Somebody
was-
else took them down.
it was I'm sure it was the baseball crew,
Oh, yeah,
because it
they
was
were.
there Friday night,
Yeah.
and then when I drove out to do the checks on Saturday, they were all gone.
And so then the
And were people
sign was all
parking there?
broken and everything too,
Yeah.
that road sign.
So then we took the ones down and gave them to the fair to block off there, and all 5 of those disappeared, so who knows? We had the little rotten cones that we have, but all our candles are gone, because I've been doing it for 20 years, I've always went down there, picked them up on Monday, went to pick them up, and they were all gone, so somebody needed them worse than we
I
did.
guess so.
Mr. Baker is still calling.
Oh, I was gonna say, where's he at?
He's calling me.
Yeah, he talked to me twice, before and after. I said, well, this time I had to agree with him on the strip. They didn't do near as good a job of cleaning up as they had in the past. The other years, I've told him that I didn't think he had a complaint as far as the strip was. But we got the water right on a Monday morning, and we swept the street for him, but it's never good enough.
What about the alley? Is the alley okay over there?
Well, I drove down it, and I didn't see much of anything, so I don't know. He complained they went and cleaned up stuff, and all they did was put it away from his garbage can and throw it out over the other side.
Well, I rode my bike down through that alley afterward too, and I didn't see anything.
There was next to nothing.
Yeah.
So overall, you'd say that now it's pretty decent?
Now it's good, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I won't worry about it then.
2 stop signs, one by Ruth's house on Spruce and 4th Avenue, and the other one on Maple and 4th Avenue, they're doing this kind of a thing instead of standing upright. So,
They're tilting.
oh, they're tilting.
15.
Tilting.
So, just thought you'd wanna know, because if they do go down, the people will go through thinking that they don't have to stop again. The sign's not there,
And on the note with Rhonda and Aaron and stuff, I did talk to them. They stopped by the house, by the way. And and asked about their rolling bar that we were hearing things about, and I said, well, technically at the baseball thing, it's supposed to only be beer. And I said, and curfew time is, and if anybody starts anything, the officers are not gonna put up with anything, cause that's fire, when all the firecrackers going on, so they're not gonna put up with anything, there would be 0 tolerance, they act up, they're going to jail. Oh, good to know, you're only, okay, we will take care of that.
And I told Sue Heimerdinger the same thing, that remind your people that there is 0 tolerance, they have enough stuff else to do, the officers are gonna go 0 tolerance. It was the best year we've ever had.
Yeah.
It really was.
Attendance was maybe down.
They had 26 teams and they're gonna try to keep it at that. It's manageable, they, they did real well with it, and they would like to see a new concession building.
They kept jumping in there.
The baseball kids, were thinking that it was the baseball kids that did the vandalism or graffiti on the door that comes down over the concession. There's writing all over that, and there was, on the brick wall too, from what Susie said, and that was not there when they had baseball, or their baseball tournament last year, so.
Well, and I thought that with graffiti that there was some, because I didn't notice it. I mean, it's not, there was no nasty words on it. It was just some writing, and so I said, this is the graffiti that they're complaining about? Yeah, somebody wrote on it, but there was just some words, love and stuff like that, scribbles here, it was all this little, I was looking for big
Like
FUs
spray
and all this
painted,
stuff that they were doing. This is it? I mean, people, we'll put paint over it, but that's good grief.
They did, the sign over here on Riverside, and we're at the end of where your cones were after the softball tournaments, it's kind of like.
Yeah, somebody took it and
Yeah.
bent that.
So I just wanted to
I saw a stop sign that's almost bent too, but I can't remember where that one is. I only see the 2 on 4th Avenue on a regular basis because I go see Grandma every day. The assisted living, so I pass them every day.
Okay, let's move on to the fire department.
He wasn't busy at all, so.
Slow walk, huh?
Yeah.
8 emergency calls, planned trading meetings canceled, additional training, Westmoreland fire, generator grant, ISO visit, grant closeout, child safety seat program, dispatch project, recruiting and retention. Anything to add?
No, I think we pretty well covered it.
What'd you have last night?
A whole bunch of lightning starts. We had a total of 5 starts that we know of. One was up in Deep Creek that by the time we got up there, the rain had put it out. They got half an inch down there. And 2 up Johnson Creek and 2 up Keystone.
All of them stayed small.
All of them were back in that we couldn't get to. As near as I can tell, they stayed small. I mean, one of the ones up Johnson Creek you could watch quite nicely from Long Road in the beginning, but it damped down afterwards. I didn't get a chance to stop at the Forest Service and talk with them and what they had today, but I know there was a bucket ship working around, but it's not stationed at the airport, so I figured it was probably just a couple drops and they got it. And there'll be other stuff that'll pop up during the week. There was a lot of lightning out
Holy
there.
cow,
they've
it was
got
nuts.
Yeah.
They've got quite a bit of extra crew that's not local. When we were in there today, there was probably 15, 20 people that I didn't know. So they must have a little something going on.
Yeah, hopefully I'll get over there tomorrow afternoon, but it was just one of those days today.
On the child safety seat thing, I think Julie has like 18 child safety seats
Yep.
for low-income people. So if you know of somebody who needs a child seat, need to get them to her, because also another program I think is gonna give her another 15. So, and they're brand new in the box. So they have to open them, put a sticker on them, and John has to show them how to put them in, but that's about the only ticker that they have to do.
Yeah, and they make so much of a difference.
Yes.
Huge. Huge. They're installed correctly and the child buckled correctly, it's huge.
Yep.
Huge difference.
Yeah. Do you think that kids still drive around with the kids in safety seats anymore? Just blows my mind.
Yeah, I know it. It blows my mind they don't use their seatbelts. It blows my mind, but they do it.
This
easy.
And it's like, it's not that hard to do, and it makes such a big difference. It's like,
Quick question for John, did you, get ahold of Northwestern Energy and get anywhere with them?
I gained a little bit of ground with them. I did get them to come up and shut several service lines off for us up there. They weren't gonna shut down the big line, and at that point I was okay with that. And I didn't really ask them to. I got the impression that if, we really got something going, they would have come back up and shut down the big line for us, but, it's still not what I'd like it to be. You know, basically the attitude is that, if something gets going, they will not, their general rule is they won't shut it down. They'll wait until it sends something to fault. Well, what that means is that it's arced the ground once. And what that means to me is I can't have my firefighters anywhere near it until after it arcs the ground, not through a firefighter. And in places like, you know, the Hilltop, the lumberyard, and the stretch of houses beyond it, until it arcs the ground, I can't do a whole lot about fighting a fire under it until, and that does continue to cause me some concern. I may try and tilt it that windmill some more during the winter. It's just like the last month or so. I just haven't had the opportunity to deal with it. I did succeed in getting them, and we'll see how long it lasts, but one of their folks was at our last LAPC meeting, and it's the first time I've ever seen that happen, so hopefully that'll get something started there too.
Well, John, I'm sure glad that you're working the number of hours that we request you to work.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I covered the whole month of July in a week. So.
We really weren't trying to misrepresent the job. Okay, any council concerns? Okay, let's move on to.
I have a council concern. Really
Yes.
quick. Just for the sake of being able to talk to the public, is Judge James still working for the town? She's not on leave from here?
She's on leave from both.
Okay.
She took leave from both.
That's what I wanted to
And
make sure,
she's-
because I've had.
Because the
people ask me.
sub-judges will do it, just like whether
Okay.
she's on vacation, on training,
Right.
or out sick.
Right.
They'll be handling it right
Okay.
now.
I've had questions about the town
Yeah.
and the county and what the difference was, so I wanted to be able to tell them knowledgeably. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on. EPA Superfund update.
EPA will have a representative, Duke Wynn, will be here in later August. He's kind of shot me a couple dates. One he said was the 16th, I'm not quite sure. He has waited on a contract where a individual by the name of Nate Williams was working for URS. He quit that company, I guess, went to another company, but he's still in Denver. But somehow Duke is able to get him to come back up here and be that middleman, run the project again for the, to set everything up for the environmental restoration. Environmental restoration will mobilize September 3rd and roll into town and start the work. I'm hearing some conflicting dates and times, but I think I'm gonna go with Duke's, and they will set everything up and start remediating yards in mid-September, and my understanding is that the temporary repository is going to be moved more like in October. If you looked at the bid documents that were put out, they said that they were going to start right first part of September, so I don't know that, but there's going to be at least some local work that's going to come out of it, because you can bid a truck and a driver and a time and do that, and then there's going to be some opportunity for somebody to try to maybe get some of this other product material, but Duke is going to be rather picky about where material and source comes from, because they got to do that so late in the year. So anyway, it's on. They're going to start, but I have been hearing a bit in a flurry and then you hear nothing. I guess at least he's had a great big project going down in Utah or something that he's been cleaning up down there, so that's the latest that I know about.
When did you say he'll be here, Duke?
Well, he said he's gonna be here a week or two before ER gets here to do the thing, so, we wanna get that sampling back. As far as I know, there's like 3 properties that they identified before that weren't sampled, or maybe 4, and, I've got releases for some of them, but we gotta get that straightened out, that make sure we get the releases and get, those last properties tested and stuff. There were just some oversights, I think. And maybe there was a couple refusals, but we'll see how that goes. Should be
How many houses?
35, 38, 39, 38, 35, 38, 49, 40, 40,
Sounds like it's bad.
we bounce it about 3 times and stuff, so, I don't know. I think one of them might be where if they might chase material over into the adjoining property. And they did that at least twice last time, is that they actually chased material and went onto an adjoining property. And that's very unusual that you have somebody that will pursue that, try to get that done. But Duke's just of that mindset. The other sidebar development is that Forest Service is very concerned about the fire in Flat Creek. And they think that they would like to try to tag on with Duke and get his contractor to remediate 2 portions of Flat Creek and pull that most visible tailings out of there and haul it to the site first. Why I don't believe they're gonna haul anything too spectacular is that there's a certain amount of prep work up in the repository that they're basically gotta reopen this cell or open that cell, and so things that are gonna go in there it's gonna get all set and stuff. And then they're looking for, this time they will look for cap material that will seal that thing, and they're talking, well, actually they're gonna now put an underlayment under it, and if anybody had a bentonite pit, you'd be in business, but since there's, the closest one is eastern Montana, somebody over there is gonna get some bentonite shipped in over here, so we're gonna add a layer of protection for that repository up there, that basically things aren't gonna go through the bottom of it either. And cap it so it wouldn't go through the top, now it's gonna be sealed on the bottom.
Let's move on to the town office project.
The town offices are doing really well. The building is there, I know, Angela, but it's still trying to be nice. They are gonna put the gutters up and the snow stops up on both sides of the building. That was the last change order, was the, gutters on this side where the handicapped access is, where when we walk into the door, so that we don't have snow dropping on somebody, or in a wheelchair especially. The windows are all in the inside, the window, and then when you walk up to, the windows and the doors are in. The ceiling tile is in. Most of the outlets were in. Most of the circuit breakers were in. Not all of the internet stuff was connected yet. And the lighting fixtures hopefully shipped on last Thursday. They'll be here sometime later this week, maybe. They're hoping to do substantial completion on the 20th. Roger's gonna be on vacation for 2 weeks, so Rodney's gonna be running like a hen with his head cut off, so we'll be moving in September, but it's slowly getting there. The last subcontractor standing is the electrician. And the heating people can't come back.
October will be our first meeting here.
I'm thinking, depending on how fast we can move, but I don't want him to break anything. Do I, Roger? So, they're gonna be doing their stuff in the middle of our stuff too, so, but yeah, I don't have much sympathy for the electrician. The bid was given on April 8th, and according to the general contractor, Rich, the first contractor, subcontractor he contacted was the electrician. So he had ample time to order everything and have it here. So.
Do you
He's
know
the-
if
he's
all
the
the
holdup.
electricians sub-wiring and, stuff is done?
The
'Cause
elec-
I just heard a rumor this evening that they're gonna have to tear the ceiling out and go back in there and finish what he started. You hear anything like that?
I don't know exactly how they're gonna have to do it. I know he made a comment, I also passed it on to the architect and to the general contractor, because he came into our office to talk to me about it in front of Rodney and Roger, and technically he shouldn't have come into our office. He should have contacted the contractor, but of course the other subcontractors are trying to get their stuff done, get their stuff and get out of there. The heating and AC people are gonna have to come back because they can't even test the system, because he's not done with his job. I've also heard other rumors that he doesn't finish what he begins.
Is he bonded? He should be
He
bonded.
should be, I believe, because Rich would have had to deal with all that part of it, so. So hopefully, we're getting it done. I believe he was over there today, but I don't know what he was doing, because I.
He was in and out a few times, I don't know that he did a lot, but.
Who's the electrician?
Runs
Storage.
across.
Storage.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rich Patterson is kind of beside himself with the whole deal too.
Well, I doubt
He
Rich
wanted to be
would
done.
recommend him to
Yeah.
any other job.
I mean, he wanted to be done and out of there, that's when he gets the rest of his money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have other jobs they're going to too, trying to
Yep.
get to.
Yep.
Is one address for that building gonna be satisfactory?
Yes, 105 will work fine, because we go in the main door,
Yeah,
the
we
same
all
door
go
that's
in
right
that
there.
door. That's what I thought.
And you just
Just-
break off like this, leave it one address, don't
Yep.
confuse the power company or.
Did Dillon mention that to you?
Yes, he did, and we had that talk too. We're
good.
gonna leave it as 105. I thought I was gonna call you back and I totally forgot you.
Yeah, it's one address, it's one door, it's,
Yeah.
That's
one
what I
fuel
thought.
tank, it's one electric entrance, I mean, it's like, yeah, it's one.
It's one building.
Yeah, we have to contact
One set of bathrooms.
Blackfoot to have
Yes.
them come in and do some of the wiring stuff for the panel upstairs and stuff like that for us, but we haven't contacted them quite yet. So, they couldn't test anything because not all of it's done in the other building, not in the offices yet, so. So hopefully we'll get there soon. I don't have a lot of patience left.
Brenda, did the software install everything that went?
Yes, went well. Good. Now if I can remember how to use it, it'll do
Yeah,
better.
I want a different
I'm like,
picture. It was a picture of my house before it was painted.
You
It
should
looks
see-
better
You
now.
should see how many I show people, oh, come on, you gotta get a better picture than
Mine
that.
is okay,
Yeah.
but mine says my house is gray with black trim, and I'm looking at that going, it has never been gray with black trim. It's very light tan, like canvas, with brown trim.
But about 8 o'clock in the evening, when he took that picture, it looked kinda
It
great.
might be great,
I'm
isn't
not
it?
arguing.
When I was out looking at houses and triage and stuff, up Keystone, there was one that, I went back and I looked at the picture and I looked at that. You know, I guess maybe that is the same house with different siding
Yeah,
and porches and, it was originally, it was modular, or a single wide or something, I forget exactly what now with, plain siding, now it's got all half round log siding, it's got porches, decks. Okay, that was the same place, all right.
yeah.
Okay. Under the town offices too, we, on the fourth payment for the construction, we did the second draw for the loan. Right now, we have $19,370 something in a loan, and then next draw, and the retention that we won't pay until everything is done is gonna be about $50,000. So we'll be under the $105,000 by quite a bit. So, it's,
Okay,
That's
anything on the Diamond Road land sale?
No,
no,
no.
nothing new yet.
Nobody's
Yes,
beating our
I
door
will
down
say,
to
just
give
as
us
a
money.
Well, we didn't even have a chance to call to talk, get
Yeah,
hold of
we
him.
really, that one slipped,
That's okay.
to be quite honest with you.
He has the contact with the town folks, so, but he hasn't had time.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine what you do when you
As I
talk.
Yeah,
Haven't been busy, come on.
You and Storts.
yeah.
Okay, let's move on to new business. First thing on new business is resolution 382.
You want me to tell them what I need to do today?
Sure.
Okay. When I'm doing preliminary budgets, I have each budget for each department broke down line item. We went through all them. I even asked Roger to look through every one to make sure all the numbers were there. So I'm entering the department budgets into the computer to balance today. And we both missed the pool utilities. So,
We did?
yeah, it said 0. Yeah,
Aw, man.
Ruth heard me. So the budget is not changing overall. None of the levies changing. I just reallocated some of the architect engineering fees and some of the 50/50 sidewalk fees, or budget over into pool utilities.
So the 20 that we had sitting for the.
Yeah, I took it down to about 14, but we'll have 20. So, but yeah, it was just one of those things. I just sat there and could not believe it. It was very, very evident. And I had him look at it
Usually
too.
when a 0 stands up and you have a number over here, you know, what's happened there?
So both of us
Who
missed
knows?
it when we did it, but it worked out.
We all missed it, too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess we
it,
did.
it'll work out. Everything's
Pointing
okay.
fingers at me.
Hey, I'm honest. I mean, I'm up.
Okay, let's move on. Resolution 382, a resolution fixing the annual appropriations for the town of Superior, Montana as set forth in the 2013-2014 budget as adopted by the town council. Section 1, that the annual appropriations for the general fund and other tax-supported budgets of the town of Superior, Montana, and the same are hereafter fixed as follows. General fund, $396,386. Total, $396,386. Comprehensive insurance, $8,242. Retirement, PERS, $12,500. Health insurance, $23,736. Fireman's disability, $15,000 for a total of $155,846. Did I say it wrong? 455,846. The following specific assessments appropriated for the town of Superior, Montana are hereby fixed as follows. Street lighting, $19,750 for a total of $19,750. Section 3, the following debt service appropriation for the town of Superior, Montana is hereby fixed as follows. General obligation bond, fire hall, $50,515 for a total of $50,515. Section 4, the following non-tax supported appropriations for the town of Superior, Montana are hereby fixed as follows. Street fund, that's gas tax, $32,214. Police pension and training, $1,570. SHRP, $1,823. Swimming pool special projects, $1,565. Capital improvement, $139,885. Capital improvement fund fire department, $13,791. Capital improvement fund gas tax, $10,561. Capital improvement fund park, $4,796. VFA RFA grant fire hall, $3,000. Fire department special projects, $1,987. EPA Superfund grant, $44,172. Water utility, $278,641. Water replacement depreciation fund, $113,096. Water loan reserves, $117,126. Water sinking and interest, $116,252. Sewer utilities, $171,140. Sewer replacement and depreciation fund, $326,037. Sewer loan reserves, $17,975. Sewer sinking and interest, $16,180, for a total of $1,510,800. Total for all funds, $2,300,000. $36,922. Passed and approved by the Town Council of the Town of Superior this 12th day of August 2013. Need a motion?
Second.
Motion. Seconded. Any discussion? Ready for the vote? Passed. Okay, here we go. 383. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Superior has held a meeting to determine the income and expenses for all funds levied and non-levied for the Town of Superior for fiscal year 2013-2014. Now therefore be it resolved that the levy for the Towns of Superior levied funds for the fiscal year 2013-2014 is fixed at $174,361, and the following mills rate for taxation purposes shall be 120.35 mills general fund, 5.68 mills for comprehensive insurance fund, 17.997 mills for group insurance fund, 8.14 mills for PERS fund, 11.10 mills for fireman's disability fund, for a total of 163.24 mills. Passed and approved by the Town Council and approved by the Mayor this 12th day of August 2013. Note, the mill value is $1,042, $1,042.125. Okay, 128.
Yes.
Okay. Thus, the mill sums are $128,554 for general fund.
Can you cross this home? I did not change this. It should be 1068128.
I thought that was.
I thought that was last year's. When I read this, 1068.128.
And how about these numbers? Are those correct?
Those numbers are correct.
Okay. All right.
I
So
thought those
for the
numbers were right.
general fund, we have 128,000, these are dollars now, $128,554. Comprehensive insurance fund, $6,069. Group insurance funds, $19,190. PERS fund, $8,693. Fireman's disability fund, $11,855, for a total of $174,361.
I make a motion to pass resolution number 383 with the mill value at 1,068.128.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a second. Any discussion? You ready for the vote?
Aye.
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 Who said?
Yeah. Okay.
Didn't you say, Brenda, we're under $1 million now in the water?
Yeah, and the debt service on the purchase, we're under $1 million, because it was like 1.7 million when we started. So we're under $1 million there. The $132,000 loan that we did on that last water project was 1.7 million. We only have $132,600 loan. And that one doesn't go down real fast, but it's really cheap interest. Actually, we're down on we're actually paying more on principal now on all of them than we are in interest. That's the first time. That's the first time for a long time.
That's a good
15 years, but that's the first time for a long time.
It's like,
Yes.
it's supposed to more than the interest.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to resolution 384. Whereas the Town Council of the Town of Superior has held meetings to determine the expense of the lighting of the streetlights in the Town of Superior for fiscal year 2013-2014. Now therefore be it resolved that the assessment for the SID, Superior Lighting District Number 1, for fiscal year 2013-2014 is fixed at $17,146, and that the mill rate for the taxation purposes shall be 16.30 mills, SID, Superior Lighting District Number 1, passed by the Town Council and approved by the Mayor this 12th day of August 2013. Doug makes the motion.
Second.
And Ronnie seconded. Any questions, discussion? Ready for the vote?
Aye.
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 Passes. Breathe in.
That's just hard to believe, 17 grand is what we spent on lighting.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Actually,
it's over $1,000 a month.
we spent close closer to 19. It's $1,500 a month for your, streetlights. The water, or the electric bill for everything this month was about $6,200. Now, that's probably gonna go up in the water
Little bit, yeah.
a little bit. We'll have to see how it.
For that week, we pumped, instead of 12 hours a day, 18 hours a day to keep up with the water demand that they were doing.
Okay.
They're gonna use for the water too.
Wow. Okay, let's go on to resolution 385. Whereas the town council of the town of Superior has held meetings to determine the expenses for the fire hall GO bonds, debt service, the fund of in the town of Superior fiscal year 2013-2014. Now therefore be it resolved that the levy for the fire hall GO bonds debt service for fiscal year 2013-2014 is fixed at $28,936. The mill rate for tax purposes shall be 27.09 mils for the fire hall GO debt service passed by the town council and approved by the mayor this 12th day of August 2013. Note
I had the right bill value there.
the value of the mill is $1,068.128. Thus, the sum raised is $28,936.
I'll make a motion to pass resolution number 385.
Okay, and Doug seconded. Any questions, discussion?
Aye.
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 Okay, passed. Okay, now we are to appointing of Ward 2. You can see,
We're still getting, I've got one person that hasn't called me back yet, or two people that haven't called back yet. But I don't think Joseph's gonna call me back either. Tim Wilkinson was gone just last week, so I haven't seen him to ask him if he's interested or not. Mark Hebert said he's interested, but he put it in his email, and I put it in the notes, that because of his job, he has big lots of time on and off. I don't know exactly what that would mean and how that would affect whether he could be here at the meetings or not. The other one is Rick Lewis. He's the pastor at the Assembly of God. He had a meeting tonight with his board, and because he told him when he was first hired that he wanted to be involved in the community. And so he was gonna talk to them tonight about moving their meeting to like tomorrow night, the day behind ours and that, so that he could come, he could be able to attend these meetings, so that's where we're at there, but he won't be able to tell me until tomorrow,
Say we table it till September.
so.
the only problem is it makes it harder to get a quorum.
As long as you guys are coming in, so.
Are we gonna need two? If
If,
Ronnie and Beth.
I already have that one, because Shirley Iwata,
Okay.
I talked to her, but she has things going on right now that she just would be overwhelmed. But she said, I told her that when, at the election, Ronnie's elected mayor, and she takes that seat, her seat will be open, and Shirley said she would be.
Surely.
You never know, weirder things have happened.
Somebody might write in.
Yeah, you never know. I don't think so. I think she's gonna be elected myself, but what I'm saying is that Shirley said that, because we would probably appoint about February, and that would work out for her really well, and she would be interested.
Good, she'd
So,
be great.
we actually have, yeah.
Vote for herself and that's it.
Now Pat said something about writing in, I said, you're gonna write in? He goes, well, I don't know, but what is this with not having a vote? I said, no, there's still voting.
Yeah.
No, there's not. I'm like, yes, there is.
Only school elections can get away with that.
No voting?
If they have, they have a law
Really?
that says that if they only have one running in each position, they don't have to hold the election. They get it by acclamation, which
Wow.
really takes away the right of the public to vote.
Right.
It doesn't look good.
I still say we table it.
Okay.
Be nice to get somebody that wants to be there
Yeah,
instead of.
yeah.
Instead of,
If that's the motion, I second.
I make a motion to table it until the next meeting.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Ready to vote?
Aye.
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 Tabled. Okay.
Quick question, this is probably on that SID. Have we ever talked to Northwestern Energy to see if they do a conservation program is on the lighting.
On the street lighting?
Yeah, they got all kinds of stuff out there that's cheaper than,
Sonia
I don't
was
know what
just
they have,
talking
metal
about that.
halides in there or what they are.
What are they're high sodium?
Yeah, she's super efficient.
Yeah, so I don't know, I could find out and see what is available.
Expensive.
So like solar panels on them, you know, they do like new solar ones.
And they got LEDs out
Yeah,
there.
they got
now,
LED
all
all kinds of
kinds
stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they would be interested, I'm sure they'd want us to
Well,
pay for it.
for like the mill, you know, they'll come in and they'll incent the project. I don't know if they'll do that for a municipality or not.
Okay.
So if it saves you, you know, the cost of the project's $20,000 and you'll save that in 2 years, they'll give you $500 or $10,000 or whatever the number is. They do a calculation on it. Great.
It'd be nice to burn less electricity.
I think the town should purchase a windmill, just
Yeah, there you
right up
go.
there.
Hydro.
Exactly.
Boy, lately, you get it.
Yeah.
That's just
The wind would always die down just when we need the lights.
That's true. Just in California, and they just have them everywhere, you know, that's what they do, and it's
Okay,
really
I
awesome.
will, no
Okay,
problem.
we have a, last thing on here is the burning restrictions.
Yeah, I think, and we've done it this way before, where what we did at the meeting is authorize the mayor to put the restrictions on if we reach that point. And I'm not sure we're quite there yet. There's some talk, they may go to stage 2 within the next week. It really, and you know, yesterday we got some rain, or some of us did. I understand there are places that didn't as well. And the humidity's up a little bit today, but overall it really is pretty dry out there. And it's something to think about, at least,
Do have local people that are burning,
yeah.
there were 2 at this end,
Really?
yes.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
takes a lot of golf.
One of them is
People do not have common sense.
After the whole town could have burnt down.
I
Uh-huh.
wrote out after the whole town could have burned down. I think what was it, Sunday night, was it? A week ago Sunday night, I wrote out, outside of our jurisdiction, technically, to courts, because they had no sheriff's deputies available and somebody was shooting fireworks. So people do not have sense unless you make rules sometimes. A lot of people have sense, but there's exceptions to that.
And I believe an officer did go out and have a little chat with that person.
I know there were some discussions with him. I know Clint was out there as well the next day. Well, what happened, the neighbor that called it in met me and, give him a ticket. I don't give tickets. That's not, I have not yet to write my first ticket, and I'm not changing it tonight. And I don't think I have the authority. So what I said to him is, you should go in tomorrow morning and make a complaint if you want him to get a ticket. I'm not writing him a ticket.
He did.
And how this came up is the day I called John and said, do you have any restrictions, because I've been called right ahead of that, asking from some people at this end about burning, and then later, like, what was it, Monday that I went, last Monday? I went down some straight roads? Or it was last week anyway that I went down, and right across from there, they were burning in their backyard. Right next to a big tree and building, and I'm just going, don't see it, don't see it. You know,
No, some of them just don't.
I'd like to burn my burn pile, but I know better than to do that. I'd light up the whole riverbank for a while, you know?
So is the question on the floor whether we want to enact the restriction?
My thought is to give the mayor the authority to put the restrictions in place when,
I thought we always had that. We don't have to finalize that every year. We don't have to.
No, I think everybody needs to be.
It's in there in the last paragraph, in
Is that-
times of emergency, the mayor
The
or
mayor.
the town council
Okay.
at
Yeah.
any time may grant exceptions to this
okay,
ordinance
so
based
then
upon the
I'll
recommendations
consult with
of
the fire
department.
service and we agree that it's time to do it.
Then you
I'll
make the
give Mike a
recommendation.
call and make the recommendation, we'll go from there. Okay. You're not going away for a while, are you, Mike?
You
No,
know,
well, yeah, I am. I'm leaving
Not until
tomorrow. I'm leaving
December.
tomorrow.
Okay, can
So
we give
that would be
the mayor or deputy mayor would act in,
yeah, it says mayor or
The
town
absence
council,
of
so I
it,
think
okay.
we're fine.
Okay, yeah. Or you can just call me on my cell phone.
okay,
I think I can probably just do it over the phone.
yep, okay. All right, I just wanted to make sure we were in a position to do it without having to call a meeting or anything, and that's fine. Yep, okay.
Okay, good. Anything under legal? Clerk's business?
If you noticed your water bills,
Highlighted.
I'm going to explain what happened, sort of explain. We're really not sure why the handheld and the computer software refused to sync up. I tried for 2.5 days. I spent 15 hours on the phone between 3 different IT groups trying to get it fixed. They did every kind of thing over the computer that they could do. Mike Patterson from Neptune, or from Northwest Pipe Fittings, who sold us our handheld, shipped me a loaner handheld. It wouldn't work either. So they sent me the Cradle. It didn't work either. I shipped ours to Alabama, which is supposed to be coming back, I'm hoping before they read the meters again. But from 1 month to the next was the difference. I now have the most razoo updated software in the Neptune, that their best software up there. No cost, because we have the maintenance with them. They did that over the phone. We know it syncs up with Mike's. We're just waiting for ours to get back, the handheld to get back. I estimated, this is the first time in 13 years that I've estimated the entire town. I've never had to do that before. I did it based on and used June's bill, because I knew that if I used, like, you could use a span, and if I used April, May, and June, April and May nobody watered. June they did water. Well, those 2 months would make it lower for July, and then when they get their August bill, we'd all hear it.
Right, it's better give them a break
So,
in August.
yeah, so some of them are gonna be a little higher. I had to adjust one because nobody was living there, and we both knew that. I just forgot when I sent the bills out, so, but I did put it on there and I highlighted it so most people would understand. I still had people call and ask me how come their bill was estimated. So, yeah, I did the best I could so that nobody would get yelled at, but that's where we're at right now with it, so. I'm hoping they said it was shipped back last Wednesday. I haven't seen it yet.
The upside of that is I didn't have to walk the route.
I'm not getting any younger, so.
They walk 15 miles in 2 days.
That's good for
That's what they do.
Halfway through, at about 11 o'clock, I have to go right into my house and take 5 ibuprofen and then continue on, because my legs
Well, you
hurt.
gotta get ready to run away from those
You know how much
dogs
that
too.
would cost you if you had to pay for the gym for getting that much exercise.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't do it all in one day.
That's one of your fringe benefits.
That's on flat land
All in
with no
one day.
snow. Snow makes a huge difference.
So it'll correct itself.
It will, yeah. Some of them, some of them will still have to pay extra. There was a few people that came in and said, I'm paying my regular bill, but put all the extra that I'm paying, put it on my water bill, because I know I watered more than I did in June. And that was fine. It'll show a credit, and some of them were that way, and others were real confused. So it was just that
quite a
way.
few people will have an extra hard time.
That's why I did it the way I did, try to mitigate
I
that as
did all
much as
my
I could.
watering in July.
I'm trying to make sure Angela's happy with my lawn.
Mine's green, super green, yeah, after fire. Hey, this is the first time we've had our hoses we've had our 32 years, so almost 30 years, our hoses. And when Rex was a puppy, Rex destroyed 90% of our hoses. Most of them, they were very good Gates hoses. He chewed off most ends. They have hose clamps, all this stuff. Well, the fire started. Bill called me. I now have 600 feet of new hose. Yeah, well, none of the dogs are chewing it up, so I don't mind buying it now.
I find strategically placed, they can meet every place on the yard now.
Yeah.
That was one of the benefits of the fires. People really figured out how to get their houses watered.
It did.
Yeah, it
People's
did.
attention. There's no
Yes,
doubt
it
about
really
that.
did.
Okay, let's,
On the annual report, most stuff is done and ready for the annual report, but I can't do the annual report totally until I get MMI's report, actuary report for what they call the other post-employee benefits. So, and we'll get that early November. So, it'll get there.
okay. Consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Seconded. Any questions, comments?
Aye.
I
Okay.
Those late nights are harder on me than they were when I was 20.
Hard on me.
I started
I
at
would ask
7:30 this morning, I